What up, gang? Carolina Jackpot coming at you. Saturday morning, December 20th. Means there's about 5 more shopping days. Yeah, until Christmas. So you better get your goodies while you can. Stuff's getting busy out here. Conference Championship Saturday yesterday, man. Conference Championship Saturday. A Saturday my Gamecocks haven't participated in 10 years. It's been 10 years. I remember it like it was yesterday. You know what? You see a lot on these Conference Championship Saturdays. You can see who's fraudulent and who's not. And yesterday, I made the mistake of banking on the notion that Notre Dame was not a fraudulent team. They would give the Taters a run for their money, and we would have an exciting, ACC championship game. Well, we had nothing of the sort. I'll get back to that in just a minute, but I want to talk about some of this other stuff. The Big 12 went kind of like I thought it would. Looked like Oklahoma was going to blow out Iowa State, and then they came back a little bit in the second half there, and they were positioned to take the lead, but it didn't happen. And the Big Ten really, I tell you, I had sprinkled a little bit on the money line with old Northwestern. Thought they might be able to pull it off, and for 2.5 quarters or so, looked like they would. But just, in the back of my mind while I was watching the score of that go by, because I was actually working yesterday for most of the day, I said, this is not going to hold up. There's no way. And it didn't. SEC game last night, there's another one. Screwed me over. Had that one involved in a little 3-team parlay, which the other two cashed in. That would have been Texas A&M and Tulsa covering. And then the one that should have covered the spread easier than any of them didn't. Get Alabama. God damn, man. Excuse my French. Looked unstoppable in the first half. And then they come out in the third quarter and just go into total wet fart mode for an entire damn quarter. And they let Florida get back in it, and they didn't go away. They didn't quit. But it was clear to me the better team was. But they still, I guess got a little bit of work to do defensively. I thought that they had solved all their defensive problems because they beat up on Kentucky and Arkansas. I guess that's not true. But and Tater fan especially will sit here and look at this one and say, look at the Gamecock out there, they're wearing his Bama Cock shirt and beating up Bama drum. No, it's not. I don't like Florida. I just plain out don't like them, and I think pretty much the entire country yesterday hated Florida, except for Florida fans and maybe Auburn fans. Because Dan Mullen has just made himself not only into just a jackass, but probably like the biggest heel in college football in the past month or so, jumping out there trying to incite a fight against the Missouri players about, what was that? That was Halloween night, right? Then you show up in the Darth Vader costume, like a complete jackass, and then you have the deal with the shoe throwing, and then he gets interviewed afterwards about it. Can't even make it up. He's like, I didn't see it. Yes, you did, you dumbass. You know exactly what was going on. And then he pissed everybody off this past week, talk about when we beat them, referring to Alabama. When we win the game, when we win talk to me after we win. Fool. I mean, it just, if you're going to give an interview, if you want to say something along those lines, you say something like coach speak, right? We're putting together a game plan that gives us the best chance to win Saturday night. like everybody else does. That puts you in no hot water. You don't say shit like that when you know that there's 95% chance that it's not going to come to fruit. That's what makes them look stupid, and nobody likes them. So I wanted to see them get their ass whipped. So they didn't end up getting their ass whipped. They were getting their ass whipped, but they didn't end up getting it whipped at the end of the game like I wanted to. But Alabama still won. Anyway, moving on. Tulsa covers the spread against Cincinnati. I had a feeling on that one. I just figured Tulsa would muddy the game up and keep it rather low scoring and cover a spread, and they did. Good job there to Cincinnati, American Athletic Conference champions. Now, getting back to what I was talking about earlier. I really just I just lost it. I really did. That game last night. Notre Dame just couldn't do anything really on either side of the ball. And okay, the Trevor Lawrence thing, I don't think the Trevor Lawrence thing had as much to do with the fact of why Notre Dame won the game in South Bend. I don't think the fact of him being out was why they won the game. I think it was defensively. This year's Tater squad has players on the defensive side of the football. It's not like it's been in the past where they had the flashy old, remember the Power Rangers or whatever they called themselves, and these type of individuals that they have a few just stand out everywhere. These are like it's really a conglomeration of a bunch of guys that you most have probably don't know as household names, but they all play together pretty good. They play together pretty good. And I'm stuck in a tough spot here as Carolina Jackpot. And I'm really like the only South Carolina YouTuber. And there are other South Carolina YouTubers out there. They may not be as well known. I don't know that I am the most well known. I would say that, venture to say that I'm not. There are some people that do Gamecock podcasts that put their things on YouTube. But I definitely think I'm among the most entertaining. I would like to hope that I'm at least in the top 5 as far as Gamecock YouTubers go. But I'm like the only one who's sitting out here fighting the battle still with a 2-8 team, still shit talking the Taters. Because it's just what I do. It's what I've always done, and I always continue to do it. But man, they make it. My team makes it hard, and then Clemson makes it hard. It makes it really hard to get an edge. If we had finished up the season, I don't know, 7-3, say, okay, and we lost our 3 games to our 3 best opponents, and didn't get blown out, and had some kind of look of promise, and weren't sitting here firing a head coach who's a buffoon that we should have hired to begin with, then I would have a leg to stand on, probably, shit-talking wise. I mean, they really couldn't chop me down tremendously. And if we were putting that kind of product on the field every year, occasionally making it back to Atlanta. Sorry, had a hair. But, I mean, they make it really difficult because I'm stuck on the fine line between, I want to be entertaining and do the trash talking part, but also I like to try to be factual as well and be a realist. And really the only team that matches up with the Taters is Alabama. And I'm just a little bit upset because I saw chinks in the armor last night. Saw a lot of chinks in the armor. Kyle Trask was doing what he wanted to do in the third quarter. And I didn't like that. And I could see Trevor Lawrence and that band of hillbillies doing the same damn thing if they play in the national championship game, which they in all likelihood will. Because look at the other participants that's going to be in this playoff. Ohio State, I'm assuming will get in. I think the Taters will be number 2. I really think they will be number 2 there. And they deserve to be honest with you. Notre Dame was the only team that beat them, and they absolutely made them look ridiculous yesterday. So I think Ohio State will be in there as the 3rd team. Now the question is, who's going to be the 4th team? this is going to be the huge debate. This is going to be the huge debate. It deserves, in my opinion, the team that deserves to... What's going on back there? The team that deserves to be in there, to me, is Texas A&M. It just is. They're a one-loss team. Their one loss was to Alabama. It was way back at, like the end of September, beginning of October. Yeah, they lost by 28 points. They did at least come out and punch them in the mouth early on. They were tied up at 14. You know, their resume is better than anybody else's. They beat Florida, participated in the championship game last night, and then they've run through everybody else. I think they deserve to be there. Do I think that they'll give Alabama a game in the first round? No. I think they'll get blown out again. I think anybody else will too. But I tell you what, Notre Dame does not deserve to be there. If they put Notre Dame in there, that playoff system is a fucking farce. It's ridiculous. They don't. How can you deserve to go to the playoffs if you just sat there and got blown out by a playoff team? They got blown out by a playoff team yesterday. But today, there's a chance they may put them in the playoffs. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. They don't deserve to be there. They had a great regular season. They always do. It seems like they have great regular seasons. That's every 3 years or so. They'll lose no games or one game, and then they go out and then when they have a chance in a big game situation, they just totally get blown out. They get blown out and destroyed. So, they're not a playoff caliber team, in my opinion. They just aren't. Just are not. So, I mean, who deserves to be there? It's Texas A&M is the only one. You could make a case for Cincinnati. They're undefeated. The schedule's too weak. You could have possibly made a case for Iowa State had they won yesterday. They didn't. And even then, I mean, they had 2 losses, and one of them was to a non-Power 5 school. I don't think they deserve to be in either. It's Texas A&M. Clearly, to me, it is. Yeah, I know Florida had a great season. But, I mean, you lost last night. You're a 2-loss team, right? 3-loss team, excuse me. They're not in consideration anyway. I forgot about the shoe for a moment. Forgive me. So that's it. In my opinion, that's how it should break down. Alabama, Taters, Ohio State, Texas A&M. I would like to see Texas A&M honestly match up with the Taters because I think they get a better shot at beating them. I don't think Texas A&M or Ohio State is going to beat the Taters. I just don't think they're that good. They just aren't this year. I don't know about Ohio State. Ohio State's lost too much defensively on the back end, in my opinion, to be any good. And Texas A&M is, I don't know. I don't know what I can really point out about them that's a weakness, but they struggled with Tennessee yesterday for 3 quarters to put them away, it looked like to me. And that was a Tennessee team that was playing out without their best running back, Eric Gray, who was sitting the game, who was unavailable, according to Coach Jerome Pruitt, unavailable. If you haven't heard, well, you heard it now, that there's some allegations of maybe some perhaps impermissible benefits going on up there at Tennessee. Imagine that. They've been cheating. Been cheating this whole time. I was wondering about that big recruiting class they got in. Another bunch of clowns. How in the world we lost to them, I'll never know. Even with our piss poor team, I'll never know how in the world we lost to them like that, but we did. So there you go, guys. Another year goes by, another season's in the books, save the bowl games and the playoffs, and once again, there the Taters are, near the top of near the top of the ladder, near the top rung, whatever you want to say, near the top of the mountain, on the top of the mountain with Alabama, looking down and seeing who's gonna slug it out, who's gonna stay on top of the mountain, who's gonna go tumbling down. It's boring, really, but if you think about it, it's exciting. I wish my team would do more to compete, to make it more interesting. I really do. But I'm still gonna run my mouth. You can bank on that. I'm gonna be doing it 24/7. Oh boy, I'll be back at y'all later on in the week when we get all the bowl games laid out and they decide who's going to play who. We got some picks against the spread to do for some of them for this week, so we'll definitely be doing that. Just because football season's going away don't mean Carolina Jackpot is. I'll see y'all later, guys. Appreciate it. Peace. I'm out. Go Gamecocks. Go Coach Beamer. Do something about it.